Hello and welcome to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today we are using a couple products from Altenew. The first is the Dazzling Dahlia set. It's a great floral set. It has beautiful matching stencils and some great sentiments in this set. We'll be using all of those. And our main focus is the Intricate Mandala set. This is a two-part set. It has a masking stencil, which is gorgeous. We're not using it today, and we're going to use the little detailed stencil here. So pretty. We're going to use it in three different ways. We're going to use spicy yogurt. We're going to put our stencil right in the middle of spicy yogurt. We're going to stick it on with a little bit of tape on the back, just to hold it in place so it doesn't shift. We're going to be dry embossing it today. So we're going to grab our Platinum 6 from Spellbinders, and right on the main platform, it tells you how to emboss. So just follow that. We're going to put our platform down. We're going to flip this over so our stencil's right on the platform. Next is the cardstock, then is the tan mat, and then is the blue plate. We're going to run it through. I ran it both forward and backwards. I really wanted a good solid impression. Had some pixie spray on the stencil, so it really stuck to the cardstock. Don't show it in the video, but it took me a little bit getting it off because there is a lot of little detailed pieces to this stencil. So, gonna put my die cut machine away and peel the stencil very carefully off of the background, and then gonna remove the tape from the back. Easiest way is just to roll that tape onto itself because it was really adhered from being ran through the die cut machine. So there is our first stencil technique. We're going to use the emboss side, but there's also the deboss side if you like that better. Set that aside, grab another piece of spicy yogurt and my Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station because we're going to do just some simple ink blending here. Have pixie spray on the back so that helps so none of the pieces move while we're blending, and gonna get that centered in the middle of this spicy yogurt. Stick that pixie spray down, make sure all the little parts and pieces are stuck to the cardstock. Hold it in place with the magnets, and then we're going to use a couple colors from the Tranquility Crisp Dye ink set from Altenew. We're going to use Cloudy Sky and Nimbus. We're going to take a large blending brush and we're going to take Cloudy Sky, and I just rub the little mini ink cube all over. You can tell when the bristles have absorbed the ink. You'll see it get darker as I rub it on there. Perfect. It's all nice and loaded up. We're going to rub that around the outside. I don't really want to go outside of my stencil, so I'm kind of careful to try to stay just near the edges with this Cloudy Sky. Have to ink it up a couple times because I wanted it just a tad darker. And then when I'm done with Cloudy Sky, we're going to reach for Nimbus. Nimbus is a little bit darker. It is one of my favorite colors in this set of colors. And we're going to focus this Nimbus right in the center of this stencil to really make that center part pop. Gorgeous. Ink blending stencil, super simple, super easy, but makes for a stunning background. So we're gonna peel off the stencil. Be careful, the pixie spray can really stick to the cardstock. And I have a lot of pixie spray on here because of all the little pieces, and I've used it so many times. So there we go. We're going to set that aside. Oh, wait, first we're going to trim off just a teeny tiny bit, about 1/16 of an inch on each edge, just so when we finish it, you will have a little bit of a black border all the way around the edge. You will see that later in the video when I show the completed cards. For our third stencil technique today using the Intricate Mandala, we are going to get out our waffle flower stencil mat. It really helps hold things in place. We're going to adhere this just a little off center this time, not directly in the middle. Once I got it good in place, I'm going to press it down, get that pixie spray really sticking to the cardstock, tape the corners because I do not want this to move at all. And then we are going to grab some Gina K Glitz Glitter Gel. We're going to grab a palette knife and this little gel pal, stencil pal. Can't remember exactly what it's called, but I use it all the time when I use gels. So I'm using Gina K in her Glitz Glitter Gel in white. Going to remove the press and seal from it. I use that to try to keep it nice and moist in there so it doesn't dry out. Using my palette knife, I'm trying to just get the gel in the stencil. It goes out a little bit. That's not a big deal, but trying to keep it in the middle of the stencil as much as I can. Working in little sections at a time. This is sped up. This did take a little bit of time. I'm really trying to make sure I use my palette knife to get it into all the little detailed parts of the stencil. And just being careful, being thorough, taking my time here, and just make sure that you do press. You don't want to press too hard, but you want to make sure you press this gel in so you get a good impression. Then I'm going to take this and wipe off all my extra. As long as I'm not using ink underneath the stencil, I happily put it back in my container, the leftover. If there's any ink on it, I just wipe it and toss it. I don't want to contaminate my white gel. So got all that, clean it up. I'm going to put my press and seal back in. I push it down right up next to the gel, try to keep that air out so I can make this product last as long as possible. And then I'm going to carefully remove my stencil here so you see this beautiful image up here. So pretty. And then we're going to set this aside to dry. I usually let mine dry overnight, but at least give it a couple hours. And then you can also take a sanding block and sand off the rough edges there. I took everything and washed it and with some gentle soap and water so there's no glitter on anything. Gonna use just some Distress Heavy Stock. That is what I like to use for blending. And I'm just going to show you real quick how to blend these images. So we're going to stamp everything. I'm going to stamp all the images that I need. So I'm going to stamp multiple flowers, multiple leaves, a couple butterflies, and a hummingbird to complete all 3 cards that we will use our 3 panels that we use the 3 different techniques with. Using some Obisidian black pigment ink from Altenew here. Love this crisp black ink. It is a pigment ink, so it does need to dry. You need to set it aside and let it dry, or use a heat tool and heat set it so it does not smear when you touch it or when you go to ink blend. Always make sure you have a good impression before you remove it from your MISTI. So stamping another one of these so that I have 2 of these big dahlias to color with my mini ink blending tool from Altenew here in a moment. And I like to use a pressure tool. It just helps to get a nice, even stamped image. Gonna stamp the last of my images here. The other floral image, a hummingbird, and then I'm going to have to stamp this butterfly twice because I use 2 butterflies on 1 card. Again, using my Obisidian black ink, stamping. And once I stamp these images, I am going to clean the flower image and the hummingbird and put those away and stamp one more butterfly up in that little corner where I have some room. And he fits just perfect. And get him all stamped. And then I am going to heat set this. Grab my Make Art Station once again. And then the color families I'm using is the Tranquility set, the Fall Harvest, 3 colors from the Tropical Forest set, and then Honey Drizzle. That will be for my flower centers. I got this color palette and the spicy yogurt using these 2 Altenew products from Bridget Casey. She used these in her class that she taught for the crafter class late summer that Altenew put on. She did a couple different things with it, but I took the Intricate Mandala and went a different way and decided to make 3 techniques with it. But the color palette was totally hers, and then they also used these 2 products in their class. So here I'm going to color this first flower image using the Tranquility set. I'm going to start lightest to darkest. There are 4 layers to each of the flowers, so it works perfect. I'm going to color this big bloom with the Tranquility set. The other bloom will be done with Fall Harvest, and again going lightest to darkest. So what I do is I start and I blend very lightly, and then at the base of the petals I use a heavier hand and add a lot more pigment so it's very dark at the base of the petal. That gives the petals and the overall floral image a lot more dimension, and it looks like you used a lot more ink pads than you did. So this really helps extend one set of ink pads. It helps make your flower image really pop, very dimensional, more realistic. So the way Altenew has their stencils broke down here, you could make a multicolored flower here. You could make a rainbow flower if you would like. And they would all look great. And so I like that they have multiple images there for their flowers to ink blend over. So next I'm doing a leaf. I'm starting with Parrot, my lightest color, and then I'm going to take the moss and the olive and deepen up the center and the veining, and keep it pretty light, keep it simple, make that veining pop a little bit with those darker colors. And I'm going to do that for all my leaves. I don't show them all, but so here are after I've colored everything. Now I'm going to fussy cut. I have sped this fussy cutting up a lot. I try to make it as perfect as I can, but it's never perfect, and that's okay. Nobody notices, but there are coordinating dies. I just don't happen to have them, and I don't mind fussy cutting. I usually fussy cut while I'm watching something, or I should say listening to something on TV or listening to a podcast. I just kind of get in a zone and fussy cut. I try to move the hand that's holding the image mostly. So here are my finished images. Here's my embossed card. I put my flowers on there in the corners, and then I added some Morning Dew Nuvo drops to the leaves and the flowers. I did pop up my flowers with some foam tape and put a sentiment on there. For my next card, this is my ink blended card. I just added a couple cute butterflies and a sentiment strip here. And again, some more Morning Dew Nuvo drops. For my butterflies, they have a little bit of shine to them. I used 2 layers of the clear embossing powder from Altenew, and for all of my sentiments, I used the antique gold embossing powder from Altenew. And it has a little black edge there because remember we trimmed it down. Super cute. For my last card, the one with the glitter gel on it, I popped up my hummingbird and my flower, fussy cut my sentiment after I heat embossed it, added some Nuvo drops again to carry that theme through. And these cards would be a perfect gift for somebody. They all match. They look great, and I'm sure someone would love getting these as a gift. So thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed these 3 stencil techniques, and I hope you give them a try. Please like and subscribe. I would sure appreciate it. And until next time, have fun crafting. See you real soon. Bye.